Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Megalopolis. Apologies, this is part of a playlist. Excuse me. So it is part of a playlist, and you'll have no context for what I'm talking about if you don't watch this playlist from the beginning. Please start at the beginning of the playlist. All right. Today we're going to talk about the second level of the Triumvirate experience that exists for both Megalopolis and for Dungeons and Dragons. So Megalopolis and Dungeons and Dragons are siblings, right? They are artistic siblings. They are material that branches beyond art. They are, Dungeons and Dragons is literature and um and art and math, right? And philosophy, and religion, right? Dungeons and Dragons is an array of human disciplines, right? All wrapped into one, and then boosted, like catalyst into those are fused together to form something completely new, an experience that was not available before Dungeons and Dragons existed in any form, right? Megalopolis is the same thing. It is not a film. It is beyond imagery. It is beyond script. It is a five-star American masterpiece that must be seen to believe. Adam Driver's Megalopolis is astonishing. It is really, truly a transformative work of human creation. Right? It is an incredible work. Okay. All right. We've already talked about the first of the Triumvirate experience. Can you witness this? Can you witness Dungeons and Dragons? Can you witness Megalopolis? Let's talk about witnessing Megalopolis. Can you? I'm sorry. Can you? So we've talked about witnessing Megalopolis and witnessing Dungeons and Dragons. Now let's talk about, can you understand Megalopolis? Can you understand Dungeons and Dragons? So one, what does it mean to understand an exemplary work of human achievement, which both Dungeons and Dragons and Megalopolis are? Well, it means that you understood one thing at least when you watched it, right? So one of the things I understood when I watched Megalopolis is one of the themes is about creation and destruction, right? And how if you can't create anything, you don't have any value. You really don't. If you're only critiquing something, if you're not creating something of your own, what value do you have, right? So that is one thing, right? And I'm like, and people are like, wait a second, Scott, aren't you just critiquing Dungeons and Dragons? Are you creating your own TTRPG? It's a good question. I already created 2 novels. I could definitely create. Right? So like, do you have 2 novels? Yeah. Okay. Come at me in the comments if you got more. All right. So yeah. So I've definitely created many works of art. So I'm doing more than just commenting or critiquing. Right. The other thing is, I do believe that my critique of Dungeons and Dragons is something genuine and new and innovative. I don't think anyone talks about Dungeons and Dragons. I know for a fact. Actually, it is my humble opinion that no one in the world talks about Dungeons and Dragons the way I do. I truly have a unique voice. People can, come at me and, register all kinds of complaints and, critiques, whatever. But I definitely have a unique voice on Dungeons and Dragons. So, like literally like nobody on the planet, that's for sure. All right, I've achieved that one thing. All right. Can you understand Megalopolis? So what does that mean to understand it? Well, first, can you understand one thing in the film when you watch it? I believe I did. I understood the theme of creation and destruction, right? Now, here's the thing. There's absolutely no way you can understand Megalopolis on a first viewing. I'm not sure you would fully understand Megalopolis after 3 viewings, right? There's so much there, right? And yeah. So, one, can you understand one thing when you view it? Then, in the next week after you've seen it, are you driven to research some of the concepts you saw presented within Megalopolis and add an additional understanding? Okay, and that is a subsequent understanding, right? That is a subsequent learning, right? So understanding is an initial learned element, then a subsequent learned element, and finally a percolated learned element. Then, after your passion for the piece of art, for this exemplary work of human achievement, right? Because it's really beyond art. It's way more than art. Okay, and that's Dungeons and Dragons too. It's not just art. It's literature. It's experience. It's manifest courage, it's identity, it's so many things, right? It's an exemplary work of human achievement. It's not enough to say that it's even great art. That's not accurate, right? And it's the same thing with Megalopolis, right? So can you understand it? And the third learned element is that percolated learned element. After your passion has gone and you've had 3 months or 3 years or 30 years, right? And you've had months or years or even decades, and you haven't thought about Megalopolis. Then your heart reminds you, right? Or your spirit reminds you, and it engages your intellect again, and you once more add another learned element because you researched more and you dug more into the work, right? Into the work that Adam Driver presented, right? Can you witness Triumvirate Experience Level 1? Can you understand? And you cannot understand if you did not witness, right? And if you saw it on the small screen, you never witnessed it, which means you don't have any hope of understanding it, right? By the way, when you watch something on the small screen, any piece of art on the small screen, you learn nothing about the piece of art. The world learns about you. It means that you're lazy. You're intellectually lazy, you're emotionally lazy, and you are spiritually lazy. Right? That's all that's ever learned. The world only learns that you really have no business commenting on art. Right? And if you even dare to critique something you saw on the small screen, forget it. That was genesised on the big screen and then brought to the small screen. I should make that clarification, right? But can you witness it? Can you understand it, right? And this is something we are now, and the answer for the vast majority of the world is they cannot witness any. They can, the vast 19 out of 20, right? The D20, right? 19 out of D20 Americans will never witness a single exemplary work of human achievement. It's beyond them, right? And it's not just Dungeons and Dragons, right? Dungeons and Dragons takes intellectual, emotional, and spiritual courage to even venture into, right? And even if you started playing, are you able to dungeon master? That's a different level of courage, and it terrifies the vast majority of Americans. And most Americans are terrified to even step into a D&D. It's unthinkable. Many people don't even play board games. Like, it's so far, down the road, right? So that is the second level, right? And I think the reason why Megalopolis is so important to me is nobody went. Oh, I need to explain this to you. I watched Megalopolis on opening weekend in a 100-person theater alone. I watched Megalopolis alone. Do you understand that? Right? Can you witness this? Right? Are you going to let the critics tell you you have no business seeing Megalopolis, or are you going to see a exemplary piece of human achievement, an exemplary work of human achievement? You have to see this thing. Every single word I just said is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.